Hi Dr. Lamb, this is Sarah Crawford with my video reflection number 1. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the first question on our list, which is how do the standards affect the teaching of mathematics in an elementary classroom? And in Texas, our standards are the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, the TEKS, where in most other states they have the Common Core, which is actually 44 out of 50 states, us being one of the ones that don't follow the Common Core. When it comes to the TEKS are just a list of the goals that a teacher should accomplish by the end of the year. It gives them a framework for the content that they need to teach, the content that the kids need to know by the end of that year. And it's a very useful list for a teacher to have because they really do need to know where they're going with this. And they also need to know where the grades ahead of them need to be so that they can know, what foundation do they need to lay down for these kids for their future grades in school. When it comes to the second question, place value. Place value is the basis of our whole, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, our whole system. And that starts in first grade, and I saw that it ended in fifth. So the state expects our kids to have mastered place value by fifth grade, which I think is really interesting because there is a lot to place value. It's not going to take them 1 or 2 days, 1 or 2 weeks, 1 or 2 years. It's going to take them 5 years, and that's crazy to me. There's so much to it. There's the tenths, the hundredths, then you get into the decimals, you get into the long division, you get into the multiplication, you get into lining up the values. And you not only have to know the computation and where they line up, you have to know why. You have to know that 432, the 4 represents 400 and not 4. And that's a really hard concept for a kid to grasp sometimes, I've found. And it's just really important for them to know how to do that because it's the foundation of any other type of calculations that you do. You have to know your place value, and mastery of that in fifth grade, really before that, I would think, is really important. And they need to really know how to do that and have mastery of that. And on the third question, when it addresses national versus state versus local, after doing a little bit of research, I kind of decided that I don't really agree with local standards just because I feel like this school and the school 20 miles down the road in the same state should be up to the same expectations. They should have the same standards. It's not that much of a geographically different area that their standards should be any different. That brings me to national versus state. This is a very deep topic and so many opinions on both sides. And I can see the pros and cons of both. I can see some of the pros of national standards would be like, an elevated expectations for everyone. Everyone would be, expected to perform better, which can also be a con because as of right now, I've heard a lot of complaints about too many TEKS and having to rush through it and not being able to cover it the way they want to. So I can see both sides. Another pro about national standards is that a kid moving from Florida to California, he'd be okay. So that's another pro, where a con of the national standards is that education has traditionally been state controlled. A state has had control of that, and taking away that tradition, I can see how that's a con. Another pro of national standards is that all the teachers can collaborate with one another and have some of the same ideas. But the con of that is if the standards are too strict and too rigid, then that ruins some of the creativity and takes away some of that from the classroom and some of the innovations that these teachers can come up with. And they don't have time, they don't have the resources, so it's a deep topic, and hopefully with more research I'll come up with a more solid opinion on that. But as of right now, I can see both sides. This has been video reflection number 1. Thanks for watching.